You're not lazy. You are uninspired. And if you don't fix that now, you will waste next 10 years wondering why you never built the life you wanted. Let me show you the 5 rules I use to keep my motivation and drive high even when I feel like quitting. I've spent the last 8 years teaching people English. I did that because I wanted to learn what is the biggest problem people have while learning languages. And what I learned might surprise you. I remember I had this student. I was sitting and talking to him, and I was trying to get him to understand how much learning English would change his life. He was a really smart guy, at least I thought so. What I was trying to tell him is how much impact knowing English has on your life. I gave him the most usual basic examples, like for example that people who speak English fluently and their English is on a high level usually earn twice as much for the same job in programming, in teaching, in nursing, whatever you do. I was also trying to explain to him how he would be free to travel the world without worry and stress. And at the same time, I was also trying to tell him how much knowledge he can gain by knowing English, because the best experts in the world speak in English. None of it worked. I looked at him and I felt like I was talking to a wall. There was no result whatsoever. Now, mind you, I wanted him to understand it so that he could have more motivation for our work together. But I clearly wasn't making enough progress in that department. I've learned one important thing in that moment, that for most people, learning English isn't difficult because of the intelligence required. The grammar rules, vocabulary, overall, English as a whole isn't that difficult, especially if it's explained right. But what is difficult is finding the motivation to stick with it. This is what my student clearly had a problem with. His brain had the ability to master English, but his mindset and the way he viewed motivation wasn't good enough. This happened when I was in my year 3 of teaching. I've learned quite a lot since that moment. The biggest thing I've realized is that it's not the knowledge that's the problem, it's the inspiration. I've discovered and developed a method that consists of 5 rules for maintaining high levels of motivation, even if the circumstances aren't favorable, if you are in a bad situation. First one, this one is going to hurt you, but it's for your own good. To have and maintain high levels of motivation, you need to stop chasing cheap dopamine. Now, let me explain you what dopamine is in a really simple way. Dopamine is this molecule, hormone, don't try to get me on the details, that is secreted, that's created when we are in pursuit. It's the molecule of reward, of chasing something. And your body secretes dopamine when you do activities that give you some sort of a reward. For example, if you are eating a donut, your body will release dopamine and you will feel pleasure. Or when you are in a conversation with a friend, your body will also release dopamine and you start feeling good. Dopamine was designed for our bodies to have a way of rewarding us for things that would make survival easier, right? That's why we, for example, get dopamine eating something really sweet and high in calories, because our body is like, yeah, we're going for survival. But there is a huge problem. The problem is, nowadays, your dopamine system has been hijacked. It has been taken away from you, dominated by billion-dollar companies who don't really care about you. The way they do this is they trick your dopamine system into creating dopamine and giving you a lot of reward for not a lot of effort, so that you stay stuck consuming their products so that they make more money. Is it sad? Yes, a little bit, but we can't do anything about it. We need to adopt some personal responsibility. I will give you some examples of cheap dopamine. The main definition is whenever something is really easy and it gives you a huge level of reward, then this is cheap dopamine. So whenever you get rewarded for doing something that doesn't take a lot of effort, it's not going to be great for your motivation. Let me give you an example. Whenever you are watching a Netflix series, you don't need to do anything. You are laying on the couch, you are relaxing, everything is happening, there is no effort or input on your part. But you are getting rewarded. Every single scene they create, every single episode that you watch, you feel good. This is cheap dopamine because you aren't doing anything effortful, anything that would require some sacrifice or some personal struggle from you, but you are getting rewarded for doing the activity. We can think of other activities. For example, social media is one of them. Whenever you are scrolling through Instagram or scrolling through Facebook or watching TikTok or watching even YouTube, what happens is you are not putting in any effort and you are getting a lot of reward for it. What happens? Why is this bad? Because it doesn't seem bad at the first sight. Well, what happens is whenever your body figures out that you can get rewarded for not doing anything, for not putting in a lot of effort, that's all it wants to do. Because think about it, from an evolutionary standpoint, if your body can get a reward and it doesn't have to use up a lot of energy to get that reward, it seems like the perfect deal. That's why you are so motivated to watch Netflix series. That's why you are so motivated to scroll through social media. But the thing is, our bodies do not evolve as quickly as technology evolves. That's why we are a little bit behind when it comes to that. And following your natural instinct in this context can be hurtful, especially if you want to maintain a high level of motivation. So, cut out the cheap dopamine sources. Most common ones are eating very high processed sugary foods, watching copious amounts of Netflix series, playing video games. Video games, by the way, are engineered to keep you glued to the screen. They figured out something, and that something is how to get you addicted. I'm not completely against video games, but if you're trying to make quick progress towards your goal, I would relax in them and chill a little bit. Also, scrolling through social media. Unfortunately, most of the social media you watch is garbage. It's controversial, it's just to take your attention from whatever you're doing into scrolling. So you have the definition now. I don't want you to engage in any activities that promote cheap dopamine. Dopamine is great, but only when you have to put in energy and effort to actually receive it. Every time you pick pleasure, you're actively working against achieving your dreams and goals. And that's only the first killer of your motivation. Second point, do things you actually care about. There's a really interesting lesson I've learned, and it's that burnout isn't physical. I've always thought that burnout is when your body tells you you can't go on anymore because it's just used up all of its resources. But what I've learned recently is that burnout is not at all physical. It's actually emotional. And this is because I've seen people work harder than they ever imagined, achieving excellent results. They don't feel burnout at all because what they are doing is actually feeding their soul. They are doing something they truly care about. And I want to give you this example. Think about the energy you have when you go on holiday. You are excited, you are ready to do something, even when you have to wake up early and go to the airport, right? No, you can be on 3 hours of sleep, but if you are going on holiday, you are going to have a great time. Same comes from Christmas morning. If you sleep 3 hours before Christmas morning, doesn't matter. You still have fun. You still take enjoyment and you have energy to do things. Now, why is that? Well, it's because you don't view Christmas morning or going on holiday as something that's painful and that's something that you have to do. You view them as pleasures, as something that you would do for free. Now, the difference between people who burn out easily when they work and the people who don't burn out at all is that the people who don't burn out at all feel the same way about work. For them, working, creating, moving a project forward is like waking up on Christmas morning and working towards it. Or it's just like going on holiday. They can be on 3 hours of sleep, but what happens is they get so much pleasure from pursuing it that they don't need to sleep for 8 hours, and it doesn't feel like burnout to them. Burnout only happens when you view the things you do as useless, as without a purpose. It's actually a great reaction because it's your body telling you that you are doing garbage that you don't care about. It's just a message that whatever you're doing, your body doesn't view as important. And honestly, you don't view it as important too. You're just trying to rationalize staying in the same place because you're scared of making a move. Now I want to tell you a story that demonstrates the example from my personal world. I don't know how long you've been following me, but I've been creating content for about 2 years. Now, the first year and a half, I started creating content that I didn't really enjoy. I created basic videos about learning English for beginners or for people who wanted to improve their language abilities. And there was nothing wrong with that, but the thing was, I felt like the content I was making was not a content that I would consume. Honestly, I don't believe that anybody who's watching those silly, stupid videos is learning English, because they use that as productive procrastination. The real way to learn English is to start living in English, is to start building your life using English, is to have real conversations with people and learn lessons, read books, read articles. That's how you learn. You don't learn by watching a video with these are the 4 words that you need to know. I understand it looks a little bit like a hypocrisy on my side, but I'm going to be honest, I'm still learning, I'm still improving myself as well. And the content that I was making back then, it was honestly cringe to me, but I did it because I felt like this is something that I had to do to make progress in my business. What I've learned is that when you do that, when you are not authentic, when you do things because you think other people expect them, you have no energy at all. And every week, I'm a real disciplined guy and I know how to stick to something. And I created that content, but what happened was I had zero satisfaction creating that content. It actually felt really meaningless. And I didn't have as much energy. It felt like I had to do it. Whereas when I've made a change and I actually started teaching English like I learned English, by doing, not by pretending, what happened was I have this unlock of energy. It felt like I was operating at 20% of my capacity back then. And right now, what I'm doing, it doesn't even feel like work. It feels like play to me. Now, think about this. How can you compete with someone whose work feels like play to them? Think about whatever your job is right now. And now, I hope that you are the person whose job and work feels like play. Most realistically though, you're probably not. And now, imagine how much effort and energy it costs you to put 8 hours into your job. You are tired at the end, exhausted, no energy, and you just want to have a nice weekend, right? Think about the person whose 8 hours of work feels like going to the cinema for them, or waking up on Christmas morning. How can you win with this person? What sort of advantage do you have over them? You don't have any advantages, and you will lose every single freaking time. Because the truth of the matter is, they will outwork you with more hours, with better effort, and it will not even feel like work to them. It will feel like they are playing a video game. Meanwhile, you are on your 8 hours and you're trying to think of how hard you are working. They don't even feel like they are working, honestly. And they are beating you, working longer, better, right? So The trick for this is, what you need to do is figure out work activity that feels like play to you, but like work to others. This is from Naval Ravikant, and it's the best quote I've ever read on work. So find work that feels like play to you. You're playing, you're having fun. Like I'm playing right now, I'm just talking to camera. And to others, this might feel like work because they need to say words. Meanwhile, I'm having fun. And this is the type of work activity where your returns will be unbelievably better, just because you will do it so much more and your skill development will be that much quicker. And on top of that, you will not even feel like you are working. And this is just a no-brainer to me. Now, let me read you a quote from Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, one of the biggest companies in the world. I absolutely adore this quote. So, Tim Cook said it during his announcement address at Tulane University, May 2019. There is a saying that if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. At Apple, I learned that is a total crock. You will work harder than you ever thought possible, but the tools will feel light in your hands. This is it. The tools will feel light in your hands. You will feel like you are not even working, even though you're working like a maniac, because you will do the thing that you truly care about. Point 3 is quite similar to the second one. So, provided that you are doing the thing that you truly care about, and you are not chasing cheap dopamine, which by the way will already put you at top 10, maybe top 5% of people. The other thing is, you need to work with people who you respect and admire. Because let's be honest here for a moment, work, existence, life is people. If you could have all the money in the world and the best physique in the world, jacked, 3% body fat, best car, best apartment, and you would be able to speak English fluently, like a native speaker, all the things you dream about. But you would be totally alone. This is the trade that you're being offered. Would you take it? Probably not. I know I wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Because what's the point of achieving all that if there are no people with you? Now, since people are so important in our life, what we need to remember is the people we work with has a huge influence on first, the results we are getting, and second, on the motivation we have for work. I know this firsthand. Whenever I am working with a client that's engaged, that's focused, that really cares about their development, that's a high value, high quality individual, my work feels 10 times as well. That's why I've actually decided to even sometimes reject clients, customers who I think are honestly sort of lazy, because working with people who are high energy, high motivation, and overall inspiring gives me so much more pleasure. But second of all, their results working with me are just so much better, right? Because I show up differently and they show up differently, so we both get a higher benefit. That's why winners hang around with winners. The thing is, the average human life is about 4,000 weeks. 4,000 weeks, think about it. It's not that much. And you've already used up some of that. And the question I have for you is, forget about the result. Would you like to spend the short time of 4,000 weeks that you have on this earth working with people you hate? Working with people who make you feel small and honestly sort of worthless? I wouldn't. It's not something that I'm going to do. And I wish that for you as well. Now, just to get real with you, if right now you feel like you have to work in an environment of people that's not inspiring, and you don't respect and admire them. I get it. Everybody has to make a living. What you can do is start digitally. If you can't move to a city that rewards ambition, that has a lot of people who want to do big things in their life, doesn't matter. You don't have an excuse. What you always can do is find profiles, find groups, communities of people online who have the same dreams and ambitions as you do. There is no excuse for you being a loner and sitting alone, wondering why nobody supports your goals. You're just not reaching out to people enough. You're not actively searching for your own tribe, for people that you can communicate with, who you can support, who can support you. The thing is, if you can do it in person, it's going to be unbelievable. But if you can't, you have to stay where you are. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have other obligations, maybe you have parents. That you can always find a circle, a community, or a group of people like that. Even the YouTube channels you watch, the Instagram profiles you follow, everything has an impact on you. Make sure you design your environment for peak motivation. You've stopped chasing cheap dopamine. You started doing things you truly care about. And you are also doing them with people you respect and admire. Honestly, top 1% in my eyes. Now, what else can we do to bring you even higher, to make you one of one? There are two more strategies. First one is, and this is actually very behavior oriented, reward yourself for taking action, not the results. Harsh reality of being an ambitious person and having big goals. Let's say you want to earn $20,000 per month. Or let's say that you want to buy an apartment in the city center. Or maybe you want to build a great physique. Or maybe you want to speak English like a leader and perform on stage in front of thousands of people. The thing is, these goals probably take 6, 5, 7 years to complete, honestly. Because if they are difficult, they take time. And you don't want your goals to take half an hour. Do you want a half an hour goal? Obviously not. It's not a goal that's attractive to you. You want goals that actually activate you. But those goals take a longer time to complete. The key thing here is when you reward yourself for the actions that you are taking, not the ultimate results. In that example, if you want to speak English fearlessly on a stage in front of thousands of people, what happens is if you only reward yourself when you do that thing, you have 6, 7 years of suffering and 1 evening of reward. Do you actually want to make that trade? I don't think so. I don't want to. And what is a much better strategy is rewarding yourself for every action that brings you closer to your goal. In that case, having a speaking conversation with someone in English is an action that's bringing you closer to your goals. And if you reward yourself for that action, guess what happens? You become more motivated to pursue that action in the future, which makes you more likely to hit your goals. In addition, I think that if you don't reinforce, if you don't give yourself rewards for actions, you will never see the result. You know why? Because you will not be motivated enough to pursue them. If this is a 7-year journey from now to your goal, what you need to realize is that consistency and longevity are the names of the game. And to win the game, you have to stay in the game. And if you stop rewarding yourself and you only reward yourself at the end, which is, by the way, something you only say to yourself, because if you become the type of person who doesn't reward themselves, you will be the type of person who doesn't reward themselves. That's it. You are who you are right now. And even in different circumstances, you will still be the same person. So what will happen is you will get demotivated and you'll probably stop pursuing that goal. On the other hand, if you reward yourself for every action, then what happens is every single day you get rewards because you are on the path to your goal. And the journey is more important than the goal, because the journey develops who you are, but you also spend like 99% of the time on your journey. So why not actually make it enjoyable? This is not to say don't work hard. Work like a maniac, like a killer, right? Get after it. You're not here to participate. You are here to dominate. But give yourself credit. Reward yourself for taking action, for the things you didn't have to do. That's what real killers do. They reinforce the behaviors they want to build within themselves. And real success is created from a place of abundance, from being so happy and grateful with what you already have that the world only offers you more. Because when you are in lack, when you are in a place of I don't have enough and I'm punishing myself to pursue this goal, the world is like, I don't think this is the type of guy who achieves his goal. Now, a reward doesn't have to be complicated. All it can be is a cup of cappuccino if you love coffee after finishing a work task. Or it can be listening to a song that you really vibe with, going for a walk, maybe eating some sweet thing like, let's say 1 cube of chocolate. That's it. That's your reward. But it's going to make you that much more motivated. The way I do this, whenever I finish a hard task, like let's say I finish recording this video, I will go for a nice walk, listening to some lovely music that is going to motivate me to do it more and feeling like a winner, because the reality is I didn't have to sit down and make this video, but I did, and I'm so happy I did it. And this way makes me more likely to record videos like that, which helps me to accomplish my goals. And if you don't get it now, honestly, you're a lost cause. You're never going to get this. The last point. This one will put all of what we've done so far on steroids. So, visualize your dream life. And people don't really know how to do this. They just throw words around. So, I want you to close your eyes and visualize with me for a little bit. Listen to my voice and imagine everything I am saying. Slowly pause the video if you have to. Close your eyes and really dig deep. So think about your dream life. Just everything being possible. You can be whoever you want, wherever you want, doing whatever you want. No limits. This is the life I'm guiding you towards. And now, see it with your eyes. Think about first, where do you live? Think about the city that you are in right now. Feel it. How does it feel to live in this city? How would you feel living in this city? Now, how does your apartment or house look like? Where exactly do you live? How many bathrooms does it have? What sort of location is it in? Do you have a view of New York, the panorama of the city? Is it a small cottage in Bali? It's your choice. Visualize it, see it, being real. It's all coming to you. Now, how does your living room look like? How does your bathroom look like? How does your bedroom look like? Think about the work you are doing. Who are you helping? What satisfaction do you get from your work? How does your workday look like? How much money you are earning? See it. See your bank account. What's the number in there? That number. It's going to be yours. Think about how people see you. Think about how you feel. Then, who is around you? Think about your dream partner, someone that fulfills you and makes your life complete. How do they look like? How do they speak to you? What sort of activities do you do together? These things are common to you as long as you complete all of the steps I've just listed out for you. Think about the diet you are eating. What sort of foods are you consuming? How do you dress? What sort of clothes do you have on yourself in your dream life? What sort of perfume do you put on yourself? Feel it, smell it. You're smelling probably really nice. You're in your dream apartment. You're driving your dream car. What sort of car is it? How does it look? What's the color like? How does the steering wheel feel? Go through each of these phases with me. Stay with me. See it. Visualize it. And tell me, how do you walk? Do you walk like you walk right now? Or do you walk differently? How do you talk to yourself? What is your self-dialogue like? But what is the dialogue that you have with other people? How do you speak to them? Do you carry yourself with respect and confidence? Or with worry and anxiety? This is the end of the visualization. But think about this. If you can't see something and precisely define what you want, you will never get it. It's like a ship that goes into the ocean and doesn't know where it's going. It's just going to be moved left and right by the waves, by the currents, but it will never go to the port or harbor it wants to go to. This is you. You need to be very precise about the things you want in your life, because the universe, it never rewards vagueness. Like, you can't say, I want to be rich. How much money do you want to have? Specifics. This is what's important and valuable in the universe. If you can be specific, the chance you'll get it is 1,000 times more. So this is the thing you write down. The universe doesn't reward vagueness. It only rewards specificity. Coming back to the story with my student, he finally turned it around. And he has built a life that he thought was impossible. But what changed wasn't his knowledge or intelligence. It was just his mindset when it comes to motivation. By cultivating motivation within him, I helped him to become who he wanted to be, not who he was told he wanted to be by others. And remember this, you are not lazy. You are uninspired. Subscribe if you want to speak English fearlessly, work globally, and live without limits. Let's do it.